Alright, so boom, Wagwan, bro, or Brevet, if you're watching this video. Welcome back to another installment of edutainment. My goal on this My goal on this channel is to provide you with a daily dose of edutainment. You will be left laughing, you'll be entertained, but most importantly, you will learn how to overcome your addiction to any type of substance, specifically weed, and you will learn some financial freedom tips to help you accumulate some generational wealth and live and create your best life. You know what I'm saying? So we got another video, Millionaire to be reacts, courtesy of Mr. Nate O'Brien. 7 money traps to avoid in your 20s. This should be interesting. I myself, I'm a 22 years young old man, or a 22-year-old. I don't know, whichever we want to say it, but like, we'll get into it. We'll see what he has to say, and I'll add my little 2 cents into the conversation because I'm smart and I know a lot. Let's go.
Hey, so in this video, we're taking a look at 7 pitfalls that people fall into, especially in their 20s and their 30s. Generally, younger people will fall into these that can end up costing them thousands of dollars in the process. So I would suggest paying close attention, maybe take some notes on this, because some of these could really be beneficial for you. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like if you find it to be helpful. But generally speaking, people from their young 20s going into their late 20s, then you're probably going to see some type of an influx of cash. Maybe you just graduated college, or maybe you've been in the workforce for quite some time, but hopefully you're starting to see some more pay increases while maybe having less responsibilities. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you don't have a lot of expenses and a lot of a home mortgage to pay for and whatnot. So if you're in that situation, then you want to avoid some of these situations that can end up costing you a lot of money in the process. So let's get into this. The first one that we're going to mention on this list is by spending exorbitant amounts of money on relationships. And I want you to hear me out on this because, first of all, the money aspect of relationships should be like down here on the important things in a relationship, like way down here. But if you're going to try to spend money to impress somebody, especially if you're on a lower income and you're trying to take them on like $300 dinner dates and $1,000 weekend trips and buy them jewelry and everything, if you're going to try to do that and it's not sustainable, you're kind of creating a false image of yourself, and that's probably not a good look for the long run if you end up running out of money.
Without a doubt, I've had my fair share of pizza dates. $5, 1 slice of pizza for me, 1 slice of pizza for you, and we're good to go. All this whole dinner, see, you gotta be honest with yourself, right? What is it that you want out of this interaction? Are you trying to just smash? Or do you want it to be something long-term? If you want it to be something long-term, then yeah, sure, go on the dinner dates or whatever it is. But if you just, most of the time, especially men, if you're just trying to smash, right? So you don't want to give off the boyfriend vibes or the boyfriend energy. Just keep it simple and be straight up. Be straight up. The more direct you are with women, the less time you save. You save her time and you save yourself time. Like, yo, listen, I think you're mad cute, I think you're sexy, I'm just trying to have fun. Simple. And you let her decide. You don't just, maybe I'll hold off trying to kiss her, maybe I'll hold off trying to talk about sex. If she wants to do it, she'll do it. And the more straightforward you are with this whole situation, the more likely you are to happen. The direct method always works. Either she says yes or no. Simple. But it's the whole in between the maybe situation where girls can waste your time. You know the whole waste his time 2019 or waste his time thread that was going on Twitter a while ago? There was a waste his time and a waste her time. Just be direct. The more direct you are with people, the less time you waste.
And you're kind of making them expect that from you because you're buying them a lot of stuff, and then one day you say, I can't buy you anything anymore because I spent all my money. It's not always the best situation. I'm not a relationship coach, so I'm not going to give you too much advice on that, but I just want you to be aware that spending a lot of money on people is not always the most important thing. There's like 1,000 other things that are more important than spending money on other people. So you want to think about that going forward in the future, because it can really kill people's wallet when they try to look really cool and rich to impress somebody. It's just not always the best option to take. So the next one is buying new or luxury vehicles, and simply put, cars keep people poor. I wish it was a nice acronym for that, but it's pretty ugly looking. Cars keep people poor. The average cost of owning and operating a vehicle, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, is about $9,000 per year. You heard me right, I said $9,000 per year. I'll leave a link to that study down below. I was really taken aback by that, seeing how much money it really costs to own and operate a vehicle per year. So buying a new car, buying a luxury car when you're in your 20s is not a good move for the majority of people. And that's because cars are depreciating assets. They're losing value every year. If you're buying a new one, say you buy a new car from a dealership, you want to return it a week later, sell it back to the dealership, you're going to get get offered at least a couple $1,000s less on that vehicle, possibly even more, just because you bought it, it's in your name, and you're selling it back to the dealership. They're not going to give you a lot of money for it, and you instantly lose money. So I would suggest buying vehicles that are at least a couple years old, maybe fresh off a lease or maybe 2 leases, but something that is going to be more bang for your buck. And if you can avoid owning and operating a vehicle, then maybe consider doing that. If you live in a big city, you have a lot of public transportation, or you have no need to really use a car very often, then I would consider not.
I live in downtown Ottawa. That's where I usually stay at whenever I'm not with the rents, with the parents. I walk everywhere, walk and bus everywhere. And if maybe I'll take an Uber. But even just opening the Uber app, it hurts my soul just to see that money leaving my bank account. So whenever you can, Uber pool, bus. I know. Honestly, I feel you. Sometimes buses don't come. Sometimes they're late.
Oh, no, let me chill out. I need this job. Look at these cars riding past and they warm cars. I should throw a rock in the street and have a 52 car pile up. Fuck y'all heat. My ball stuck to my leg. I'm finna call in and tell them my wee-wee got pneumonia. I've been waiting on this bus for umpteen hours, umpteen days, man. Fuck this shit. I'm finna start selling crack. Nah, what if I get caught? I'm scared of jail.
Especially if you're in a cold weather environment, standing out there in the cold, it's trash. But sometimes you gotta do what you don't want to do so that you can do what you can do. You know what I'm saying?
Not even having a car if you don't need one. One of the worst pitfalls that people fall into as a millennial, as a 20 or 30-year-old, is by not taking advantage of their 401k opportunities, by not putting money into their IRAs, and if you're in a different country, essentially just not putting money into your retirement accounts. Look, when you're in your 20s, it's not cool, it's not hip to be throwing money into your retirement accounts. You think, I'm not retiring for 30 years or 40 years from now, I'll think about it later. But trust me, if you ask anybody who is in their 30s or 40s, and you say, do you wish that you put more money into investments when you were in your 20s? A lot of them are going to say, yeah, I really do, because now I'm playing catch up, and I'm trying to catch up and put a lot of money in my 30s and 40s, instead of just being proactive about it and taking some of your income and putting it into investments, especially if you have a 401k offered by your organization, your company, and they're offering to match some of your contributions. I would personally take full advantage of that. I'm not a financial advisor, so you can do what you want, but I would personally take full advantage of that, because that is quite literally free money if they're matching your inputs and your contributions into your 401k. I would definitely consider taking advantage of IRAs, Roth IRAs, and just putting more money into your retirement accounts. Trust me, on your 30th birthday, you're going to be so grateful that you were actually doing this throughout your 20s and putting money into these accounts, unlike most of your peers who don't even take any advantage of any retirement opportunities and don't even think about putting money into those accounts until they're 35 and say, oh no, this is not good, I have $0 for retirement, and it's just not a good look. So I would consider putting as much money as possible into those accounts for the future. So
that compound investment is definitely like something you want to get into it. And a very simple, very easy ways to get into it is to just check out Webull and Robinhood. I always see them mentioned a lot on like YouTube and all these financial videos. You can see on your app, like check your dividends investing, stuff like that, without trusting in the bank, because the bank be using your money. They be charging me to use my own money, bro. Nigga. That's amazing.
Another one is by dropping a lot of money on speculative investments. Now, I've personally fallen into this category in the past, and maybe you have as well, but people who are in their 20s, in their 30s, you might get some hot stock tip or some hot cryptocurrency tip, and you think about just getting into it and dumping $10,000 into it because you think overnight you might make $100,000, and that would be very, very life-changing. But what I do personally now, look, there's a clear difference between investing and speculating, and that's actually the first chapter of The Intelligent Investor, one of the best investing books of all time. It's important to ask yourself, am I investing or am I gambling on this? And you need to understand your reasoning for getting into any of these particular investments. We just talked about the importance of investing, but you want to make sure that you're doing it right, and you're actually limiting risk and increasing potential reward. That's what investing is all about. So make sure you're going about that. What I personally do, if I find myself potentially getting into some type of investment on a whim, I'll take out a piece of paper, a pen, write down the pros, the cons, the risks, the rewards, and why I'm actually trying to get into this other than just trying to get rich, especially get rich quick. You want to be careful of that. Sometimes there can actually be some good deals. Sometimes you can actually get a nice stock tip that could actually work out pretty well, but you need to understand why you're getting into it.
Even in general, there's a lot of like buying decisions that you do. Give it 24 hours. If you still have the same like impulse, not impulse, but the same desire to buy it after 24 hours, then you need it. This is how people get into all this like hoarding situations. Like, you have more stuff in your place than you actually need. I've gotten into the habit of wearing very basic and minimal clothing. Like, you may see my videos, about the past like maybe 10 videos, I'll just be wearing the same shit. All that time and energy needs to be spent towards making more money or health. Like, style is cool and all, but like, you know, it's not everything.
And if you can list a lot of reasons and a lot of the cons behind it and understand the risks and rewards, then maybe it is something that you could consider getting into. But I just want to caution you on that because I've seen people lose a lot of money. Some of my friends from high school, from college, they'll call me or they'll text me and say, Nate, I got this really nice stock tip, or these binary options. I think this certain thing is going to really skyrocket the next week because somebody told me on the internet. Just be careful with it. Take some time to digest it and understand it before you jump into it too quickly and potentially lose a lot of money. Now, another trap that people are falling into are these no money down plans. And this might seem so subtle and so innocent at first with these no money down for a mattress. You only have to pay $40 a month for the next 5 years for this $4,000 mattress. But what happens here, the issue with this is that, first of all, you're paying probably 10% APR or higher on a lot of these small loans, but they really do add up, especially when you get baited into a bunch of different no money down plans. So you got a new mattress, $40 a month. You get a new dishwasher, $25 a month. You get a laptop and you get that on $0 down for the next 3 years. You're paying it off $30 a month. And then you get the iPhone and you end up having like 6 or 7 or 8 of these different bills that might seem small, like $40 a month or less, but they can really add up and start to pinch your wallet. You're getting a couple $100s a month that you owe to all these different organizations, and you're probably paying a pretty decent amount of interest on that. So what I would consider doing, look, just buy it in cash. And if you can't afford a really nice mattress, then maybe you just should get a less expensive mattress instead of getting that really expensive one that you can get for $30 a month or $40 a month. And as Clark Kegley has said in the past, that I heard in one of his videos, he said, look, if you can't afford to buy 10 of an item, maybe consider not buying one of that item. It's a good kind of rule to live by so that you end up not spending too much.
I've heard more, so if you can't buy it twice, you don't afford it, but that's cool too. You can't buy it 10 times, you can't afford it. But I think if you can't buy it 2 or 3 times over, then you can't afford that item or product. That's a good statement.
Money on something that maybe you can't afford. Okay, so number 2 is something that we would call 30,000-aires. People were trying to look like 30,000-aires. And this is something that I've heard from Marco from Whiteboard Finance say, so that's really his term. But 30,000-aires are essentially people who are making, say, less than $100,000 per year, but they're walking into a bar, trying to buy out the bar, buy drinks all around for everybody, spending a lot of money when they go out, essentially trying to look rich, trying to look like they have a lot of money, a lot more money than they have at the moment. Maybe they're buying a Gucci jacket for $4,000 or a Gucci hat for $1,200, and they're spending a lot of money to look rich. And now, there is this idea of faking it until you make it, and that actually does hold true to an extent. But instead of buying out a bar, maybe think about other ways to fake it till you become it. For example, buying a nice suit, buying a nice watch, getting nice shoes, getting a nice haircut, taking care of yourself, and being formal and professional. It can have a much greater effect than going to a bar, getting really drunk and spending a lot of money on people. And while alcohol might be fun and it's a social lubricant, it's also a big lubricant on your wallet, and you end up spending a lot more money on that. So think about ways to kind of cut back on that potentially. Maybe consider drinking before you go out to the bar, so you're not spending $200 a night on drinks at the bar. Those are just some tips, because I know 20-year-olds, people like to have fun, and it's important to have fun. Just make sure that you're doing it correctly without blowing all of your money, especially on the weekends, because that happens.
This also applies to weed, coffee. Coffee is another like low-key like money snatcher, and obviously alcohol. So a very quick like tip to dial back is to just drink 1 less cup of coffee or 1 less drink than you normally do each week or each day, and just gradually get into the habit of not taking as much. That will limit the whole withdrawal symptoms. So if you drink maybe 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day, try and drink 1 less cup of coffee, and then gradually microdose down. Same with the weed and alcohol.
One on this list, I really do want you to hear me out on this, because I think some people might be taken aback by this. Say, what the hell, Nate? I thought you were talking about ways to save money and pitfalls that people fall into, and now you're telling me this kind of opposite thing, this kind of going against the grain here. But look, the number 1 thing that I want to put on this list is by the mistake that people make is that they're not spending money on their passions. Because look, I know I'm not getting out of life alive. You're probably not getting out of life alive.
Facts.
I don't want to be pessimistic here, but I'm not taking money to the grave with me. Once I'm dead, I'm dead. And so because of that, I like to spend money on my passions. And for me personally, it's traveling. I love traveling. I was just over in Europe, and I'm in Israel. I'm going to Amsterdam next week, and that's because I'm able to set money aside to spend it on things that I actually want to spend it on. And I would suggest you doing that for yourself as well. A lot of people, they spend money on all these different things.
First and foremost, before you spend money on your passion, just give yourself a little bit of a breathing room. Your money that you make at your current job, whatever it is, just create a little emergency fund whenever you decide to quit, or if, say, for whatever reason you get fired, so that you have some breathing room to actually delve into whatever it is you actually care about and enjoy, right? I use my waiter job to give me a little bit of breathing room to focus and go hard on my YouTube videos. Like you've seen, like the past month or so, the past couple of weeks, well, no, the past month or 2, I've been going really hard, posting every single day, and trying to make this shit pop, right? So use your job, whatever it is, to finance your passion, your actual passion. All right. But yo, God bless, much love, peace, and joy. Namaste. Hope you all enjoyed this reaction. As always, if it doesn't feed you, do not water it. All facts, no cap. Too much or any good thing, it's good for nothing. You should know that by now. Deuces.